This time I'll call the July 28th, 2022 meeting to order for the Dixon County Commission. Would you please stand and join in the flag salute? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, on the agenda, I don't believe we have any additions to the agenda. So I'd move that we approve it as printed.
I'll second it.
We have the motion and the second for approval of the agenda. Any question or comment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The consent agenda includes the minutes of the July 14th meeting, also expenditures of $1,942,003.33, security wire payment of $3,600, one hand check of $90.12, credit cards $22,620.27, utilities of $11,104.66, abatements $9,653.24.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second. We have the motion second for approval of the consent agenda. Any discussion or question? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Commission comments, Ron.
Did you have the opportunity invited to the Brookville Motel this last week to try out their eating establishment there, and they're doing quite a job of getting it up and ready to run. So that was a pretty neat thing going on. And that I don't have anything.
Okay, Craig.
Yes, I guess the biggest thing is Brad and Janelle and I, and you attended NACO conference at Adams, Colorado. A lot of it was good. I mean, well, most of it was good. The biggest thing is, I think we could all agree upon, is we're a small county. I mean, just, the size of things is just, the population, the one gentleman I thought he represented in his own district, 900,000 people. So, I mean, that's just, mind-boggling. Very good. We had a KAC virtual meeting yesterday. Bruce is thinking about next year having a caucus with, I don't know if you saw the Missouri caucus and some of the others. There was approximately 30 to 32 Kansans that attended the NACO conference out there. So that's on the agenda. It is in Austin, Texas next year, which is probably another 2 or 3 hours away, but very good. It was really, and the facility was excellent, except for Brad, who had to walk a quarter mile one way. They should have had an Uber that went inside. There was 2,700 people registered.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was big enough if there were the other Kansans that we know.
Oh, yeah.
I rarely saw any of them, so.
Lynn County wouldn't got an award. I wouldn't have known they were there even.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in the hallways and stuff, typically you'd see the other people, and I did see them once or twice, but yeah, it was.
Also, the KAC, they have started up a kind of a county by county. And the only one I thought was interesting was Cheyenne County. They have a person that works at the hospital. I'm not sure what his rank is, but he wants to run for county commissioner. And Bruce, they call Bruce and KSA 1909. He can do that, but he can want to be employed by the county. He wants to do it. Also had some conversations and calls, 2 calls. My wife saw somebody and I've seen somebody in person about the rodeo committee and the fair board, some of the issues that they're having with that. And Janelle and I talked about it earlier today. I was out there at Jean's this morning, got some information I'll give to Janelle about how it's operated. I guess we should have better understanding of how split up is of the duties out there. But the fair is going to change next year. It'll be Tuesday through Friday. It won't be Saturday. PRCA rodeo is going to be back next year. Some of the rodeo members have resigned and stuff. I'm not sure what they're kind of like us, or I shouldn't say it. I'm only speaking for myself. Jerry Marshall is my age, so I know he's getting off, and that some of them turned their resignation in. I don't know if it's due to the reorganization of the agreement they've had with the Fair Board and stuff, but there is some issues out there that need to be resolved. And it's kind of like the Iron Trail that's going to come back to us to mitigate or say we're not involved. That's all I have, Lynn. No.
Okay. I also had an opportunity for kind of that preview showing there, what was known as the Brookville Hotel, but it's called the Legacy, because Munson's also are going to be having part of their operation that they had before of a steakhouse. And, you know, they're very dedicated, and, you know, wanting to give back to the community and have a great facility out there, and kind of told a little bit of their heritage as cattle people and coming out here to central Kansas, more specific west of Junction City, you know, years ago, and homesteaders and many, you know, generationally and so on. So it's great to see their commitment, but also I think it's, you know, going to be a destination point for a lot of people as far as an eating venue, and to come to this area. And we wish them lots of success. Also, I did attend the conventions, Adams County, or kind of more commonly known, it's in the airport area of Denver, Aurora, Colorado. A lot of what they talked about is the necessity to communicate. Of course, one of the things that came up is what NACO, the role that they played into having some of the funds where the counties made some of the decisions and could use the funds to help the counties. I did have one interesting conversation with a lady that happened to be a legislator formerly in Colorado, and she was very enthused about being a county commissioner and felt she could accomplish more as a county commissioner up in northeast Colorado in kind of a ranching area than what she was in the legislature, because she came from such a small district or part of the area out there. And I thought that was kind of interesting, because it shows the necessity for, you know, all of us to do our part, where whatever situation or position we're in, to try to make things better and meet the needs and so on. One of the things Craig mentioned was, you know, the differences as far as counties and the size of counties. And, you know, some states do not have near as many counties as Kansas. But they also had some vendors that were there, and some of the conversation with the vendors, they were trying to find, you might say, what is their sweet spot? They're trying to reach out to help the counties, but are their services more geared for large counties, small counties, in between? You know, what's the area that you can be the most effective? But a lot of good conversations could take place there. Did run into an individual, and they had something going on whether you have county administrators and the benefits of it. And they were asking me how it worked, you know, here in Dickinson County, and they had attended that meeting. But you know, it creates some of the discussions and opportunity for those discussions that I think we can all be involved with. Earlier this morning, we did have a group here in regards to the Iron Horse Trail, some of the obstacles or concerns that they had as far as the safety, but also, you know, sometimes when you have a trail, if people wander off that trail, or it's going through parts where there's, you know, farm operations that are active farm operations, and some of the concerns they had that, you know, what if they're spraying? What if they have equipment out there? Liability issues, but you know, also they're successful, hardworking farms that are trying to make ends meet, and they have the challenges everybody else has. And so this is not per se a county project, but they're reaching out to see what we could do to help. We also had a review earlier this morning as far as our mill levy, and, you know, the question or the elephant always in the room is, are there any services, are there things you can cut back or do without? And, generally speaking, I think a general comment could be, let's lower taxes or let's find ways to cut back. But then when you get to the portion of what do you cut back specifically, people want the roads maintained. They need to be safe. When the ambulance is called, they want the ambulance out there. They need to have the ability to get to the houses, but the equipment involved. So anyway, we're always, willing to listen, or especially if someone has something specific more than just general, let's make a big cut. Having said that, we are, the budget we're proposing, it would have a reduction in the mill levy, and I realize valuations have gone up. And there's new businesses and new buildings and new houses that have come into the area, which is good that it expands our tax base. But anyway, it's an ongoing discussion. We also had a report from our HR and looking at what we can expect as far as the budget is concerned and various areas of that. That's all I have. So we'll move on. There's no petitions or proclamations. There is opportunity for public comment. If anyone would want to make a comment at this time, this would be opportunity to do so. You'd need to give your name and address and what your concern is or comment is. And we ask to try to stay within a 3-minute limit. I don't believe we have any public comment, so we're going to go ahead and move on to our reports to county officers. Brad.
Just want to make sure that if there's anybody want to make any comments, our connection's kind of slow this morning, so I don't see any hands raised on the online or anything, so.
Okay.
Okay. First off, you've got the year-to-date staffing reports from the first of the month. Since we're kind of through the month now, we're a little behind on that, but Diane pretty well covered everything in her report, I think, on that. You do have an invitation I received, and you guys might have gotten one to the EDC's investor meeting on August 17th in Harrington at the Community Center. I also got a little note in my invitation that says we're scheduled to receive some type of award that night. So we'll make sure we had somebody there, and I assume all three of you will probably be attending that. So we'll get that on the agenda and make on the public notices as well. In your packet is a letter from K-Camp from David, just making sure that you know that it's time for nominations for the K-Camp Board of Directors, showing who the current officers are, the trustees, and which ones are up for election. So if you have anybody that you would like to nominate for the Board of Directors for K-Camp, certainly let me know and I can fill out the form and we'll get it signed and sent in for you. Martin reported this morning that the paint striping for the year is done. They finished it earlier this week on the sections that they were going to be doing. They did the yellow first, came back and did the white. So it was a section that's not done.
No, I was just gonna, what was the cost?
That
I don't know if they figured that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if the invoices come in yet.
Yeah, and because I know some of the half-cent sales tax is supposed to be for safety, and I'm,
Oh, yeah, that's what's paying, yeah.
well, we get that. I mean, I'm sure there'll be a bill next time in the,
I'm sure
you
that-
might point out that it is for the striping.
And from what I've seen so far on the roads that I've done, they did a really good
Yeah.
job as usual, so. Our crews will start chip sealing in Solomon, Harrington, and Enterprise as of Monday. I think they're going to Solomon first, then down to Harrington, and they'll come back through Enterprise and help those communities and get their sections of street that they need done. And then Martin is also soliciting bids for 2 new dump trucks. That'll be for a 2023 purchase. And he says right now, if we were ordering them today, the soonest they'd be delivered potentially would be July of 23. So we're trying to get in on that early on, and We have 2 of them in the capital plan for next year, so.
Then brought his little police car in there and I was talking to them and the earliest you can get one of those is 2024.
For one of the electric ones,
Well, any of them.
any of
Now,
them.
this is a Tahoe that it was given to me, so if anyone wants that, we've got a free Tahoe here.
I already got 2 of them.
That and not gotten the, save that when Jerry comes in, and asks for another Tahoe and say, well, we can go.
I talked to a highway patrolman and happened to have that. Told them they could have it even though it had said police on it. And they said they wish they could get a Tahoe.
So, and I would just reiterate what Craig said and Lynn said, the conference I thought was extremely beneficial. Can't always say that at some of them. It's the first time we've attended a national conference. But it's just amazing to me. It doesn't matter what size of county you're in, hundreds of thousands or millions or what have you, everybody's having the same problem. And Janelle and I attended 2 or 3 meetings with the other county administrators from around the nation and everybody is experiencing the same issues, just at bigger and smaller scales. And so we made a lot of good contacts, put a lot of faces with names, and it's always good to experience that networking component as well. So.
And I didn't mention it. I did the first day I was there. I attended one of the subcommittees. There's 10 of them. It's kind of like seeing how the sausage is made. And I find it hard to believe. I mean, I shouldn't say the staff they've got, that we only pay $450 for a membership.
Right.
I mean,
And what we get out of that
Yeah,
membership for
exactly,
$450 is the best deal ever. So with the resources, I know we heard in a couple of the classes that the mental health first aid that Diane mentioned is big in some counties. They're doing that, and to the point where we came back and started inquiring, because I think that ought to be something that we do in our insurance for all of our employees, to help them especially navigate through some of the difficult times we've had recently. Probably needed it before this week for the election girls, and next week, but that's something I think to take care of our employees. But that's a takeaway that we brought back with, as well as a number of other things. So.
And I did visit with one of the people from NACO and probably need to reach out to Kathy and get more of a discussion on that. But they could be interested if we had an article to submit to the national publication if we thought it would be something that would be of interest, but also helpful as far as counties are concerned. And so kind of made some contact there. And I mean, they're there to serve us also and help us. And they need to know what's going on at all levels and all places in the United States.
Yeah, and that kind of reminds
Invested
me
support to us.
that Janelle and I were in a class, I forget the name of the class, but, and I believe it was El Paso County, Texas. Were you in that one, Craig, where they were talking about one of the things that they had done just in the last year was hired a public information officer and to put out the information, because we've heard for years that one of the things that counties by and large do very poorly is sell themselves and publish what they're doing, because we're all so busy and there's so many things we do. And they were talking about how well it had worked out. And I was thinking about Kathy when they were talking about that, thinking maybe we're ahead of the curve there. But it'd be neat to have one of our articles talk about something we're doing and submit it to NACO. So
I can get an award for counties under 20,000.
that's right.
Because that booklet was about that thick for all the awards, that award ceremony.
Yes, sir. There was a lot of them. So.
But it just shows how every place is working. And so.
That's all I've got.
Okay, thank you, Doug.
No, I don't have anything. Thank you.
Okay, and Doug will just kind of give you a heads up on this. We did have the group from people that own property, kind of what's known as Enterprise Road or just southeast of town here. And it's the area where the Iron Horse Trail is being proposed. And they had some questions, and some of them really are more of the legal type nature, as far as fencing and, some of the state fund mandates and, safety issues and liability issues and so on. So I know Brad can kind of brief you on that. And while it's not a county project, they look to the county as far as some of the jurisdiction to look into what some of those issues are. So,
Had to look into it and help where we can.
okay, moving on, notices and communications. We just have a few here. Ingram's out of the Kansas City area sent us their magazine. We also have our county news magazine that's from the National Association of Counties. And I don't see Craig's picture in it, but
Right there.
oh,
Right there.
okay, yeah. But anyway,
Throwing
it's,
in.
Looking at the one front there.
it was a very nice area to have a convention. And I think sometimes when they have conventions, they do not have a specific area where they'll have 3 or 4 hotels where it feeds into one. And to, talk about the walking, I mean, it was easy to do about 10,000 steps just going back and forth. It was a very large complex. So were there any other notices and communications that any of you had? We did cover it also in the work study session, but I had heard from Randy Gassman reaching out on behalf of the USD 435. He's on the school board, and in regards to the preschool and also childcare type issues and the challenges that everyone is facing on that. And so, some of the success or steps being taken for Solomon and Harrington also, raises the awareness that the county is stepping forward to do some things as far as partnerships. But he was encouraging us to also look with the Abilene School District and see if there's any areas that we could help or partner. And, it's a community type effort that has to take place. And really needs to involve a lot of people, but so anything else anybody else had? We did not, I was going to say, before we have this one resolution that needs to be considered, we first need to have a public hearing. And this is for the road vacation in Liberty Township. And so if there's any comments on that road being vacated, this would be your opportunity to do so. So I will now open the public hearing.
So this is 1500 Avenue, starting at the east right of way of Union Road and then going east approximately 2,750 feet, ending at the west right of way of Utah Road. All easements would remain. That may possibly be there. This comes to us as a request from the Liberty Township Board to vacate that portion of road. And it is, according to them, is no longer needed for public use and should be vacated. So I don't know if Brian has any other comments. Brian Shippey's here with the township. And so.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm also, I guess my family owns the ground on both sides of the road as far as that goes, but then I'm on the township, I'm the trustee township, so I'm kind of caught on both sides, I get, or whatever, but I mean, everybody that's been involved in whatever has been in agreement with it, received, there's been got no calls on it or anything on this portion of the road being closed.
And that's the big part of it, is that if adjacent property owners or neighbors have been notified and aware of it, so they have opportunity to make comment or raise any particular issue.
I did get one call from a utility company that just wanted to confirm what was going on. They had no problem with it. We did send out, I don't know how many notices, but there was quite a few to anybody within a 5-mile radius on property. So
Is the status from 1500 to Wolf Road, that's all closed too?
No, that's not.
this is just 1500 from,
No, open. And there's just no bridge across the creek.
Yeah, I was gonna-
The road is open down to.
From either side, right?
Yeah, and what I was leading up to, that almost looks like it almost would work in conjunction with the closing of Utah 15.
But I did receive a call from a landowner on that part of the ground that he does have a 40 back in there and that's his only access.
And locking.
Okay,
And so
okay.
that's why, yeah,
makes sense.
he was concerned if we would, to potentially close that road. I said, no, there's no plans to close that. We understand we would landlock him then if we did. So
Sure.
That's one of the first things we look at as I get with GIS and make sure that
Okay.
any events like this would not result in landlocking someone where they don't have access to their property. So
Okay, are there any other comments or questions as far as the public hearing? I'll go ahead and close the public hearing at this time. So our next action, and we have the description here on 1500 Avenue from Union Road to Utah Road being vacated. And this would make it official.
I'll make a
motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, so your motion is to adopt this description, which is resolution 072822.
I'll second.
We have the motion and the second. Are there any other comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And let's see. Ron, I'll need your signature on there too. And we still have a few things here that have not been.
that other resolution is one you passed back in February, but when we filed it with the register deed, she just needs the original.
Okay,
Gave the original away.
so we have that signed.
It's already been approved. Yeah, you
Okay.
guys just need to re-sign it.
Okay. I don't believe there's any other business other than we'll stay and put a few signatures on some of these things.
I move we adjourn.
I can hit.
We have the motion and second to adjourn. Any question or comment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned.